Oh. How you guys doing? I think there's 6 of you here. RB3, how you doing, brother? Thank you for joining me. All right, so who we have here? Thomas Churchill, how you doing? Comics Misexplained. We definitely have a mystery unboxing. Bama Links, what's the good word? Miss Hustle, how you doing? So, I have 2 boxes that arrived today. I honestly only know what's in one of them because eBay gave me a confirmation delivery notice. So I kind of know what's in one of them. I don't know which is which. And I don't really know what's in the other box. Clearly it's something that I ordered, but I don't know which book it is from the name. So we'll do a mystery unboxing. We're gonna talk about what's in the boxes, and then we're gonna do a little additional speculation. And then, shout out to Miss Hustle. I made a deal about 2 weeks ago that if Miss Hustle did a face video, a video showing her face talking about comic books, that I would play a little green harmonica that my son brought into me recently during a live during a live stream. So if you have not been over to watch Miss Hustle's video, I encourage you to do it. I have not watched it myself. Not quite sure what that was. A little brain fart on the part of my computer. Hopefully you guys can still see me. All right, so we are back. I don't know what that was. A little bit of a glitch. Hopefully things kind of settle down. So in case you missed it, made a deal with Miss Hustle and Chris from We Love Comics that if Miss Hustle did a video where she showed her face and talked about comics, that I would play this green harmonica that my son brought into me during a live stream about 2 weeks ago. So at some point during this live stream, we are going to play this little harmonica, and we are going to play it horribly because I have no musical talents. So unlike the last couple of videos where we've played this little game, we are going to play the you guys pick what we unbox. Both of the boxes are brown, so maybe we go left, right instead of white and brown. So left and right, you guys tell me which one we're going to open, and then that's what we're going to open. All right. So we'll see what you guys say, and then we will take it from there. White Whale Comics says her video cannot be as bad as hers. I don't know. We'll see. And I think your videos are pretty good, so that's setting a pretty good standard, I think. The Ghosts of Throwback Cereal Box Harmonicas. Very good, G. Yeah, this is a Toy Tunes. Toy Tunes is what we're gonna go with today. Tony Sanders, welcome to the chat. All right, so you guys aren't picking one, so I'm gonna pick for you. I'm gonna pick the one that looks like the actual official Gemini mailer. So we're gonna go with that one versus the other, which could be a bootleg mailer. So we're gonna crack this thing open and we're gonna see what we have inside. And yes, indeed, it is a real Gemini mailer. I've been doing a lot more reaching out to guys confirming that they're going to send books properly packaged, and indeed this one appears to be. And it is actually probably a little bit better than I thought it was going to be. A little bit of a... I'm not quite sure what's going on with the iPad here. It keeps timing out, which is weird. That's weird. I'm not quite sure why it's doing that. So one of the characters that I kind of speculated could potentially turn into a TV show, maybe, or even a movie, was a character that intrigued me back in the day, back when the New Avengers was making its rounds. And I really enjoyed that New Avengers book. And one of the characters that they introduced was a character that was supposed to have been a character that's been around forever from the very beginning, but was like virtually unknown for one reason or another. And that character really intrigued me. And I also fell for the story where I believe this guy was around forever. So I started going back trying to reread my history and my older books to see if I ever missed it. And lo and behold, it was just really good writing on the part of, I guess I might have been Bendis at the time that was doing New Avengers. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. But the character that really caught my attention, that I wanted to kind of say could potentially show up in a movie of his own or a TV show or something like that, it might be cool to see him, is basically, to some degree or another, one of the most powerful people in the Marvel universe that I don't think Marvel really knows what to do with. They bring them out, they put them away, they bring them out, but they really don't know what to do with them. And the writer for his current book, the artist for his most current book actually just quit. So they're not even sure what the future of his current title is beyond issue number 5. The character that I'm talking about, you guys guessed it, at least 2 of you did. White Whale Comics, Comics Misexplained, you guys guessed it. It is indeed the Sentry. And so I realized that I actually did not have this book. This is his, I believe, his first appearance in Marvel Knights. I'm actually looking forward to reading this book all about the Sentry, because I think it could be really cool. So I went ahead and picked this up, and I believe that the Marvel Knights title, yeah, we'll see. Hopefully you guys are back. I believe that the Marvel Knights title was basic, and I don't know the whole story, but it seems like it was like a proving ground for some Marvel writers and editors and artists to go over to play around with characters and to introduce new characters that had the potential to be brought into the Marvel universe. At least that's my understanding. And again, maybe I need to do some more research on it, but I wanted to pick this up because I thought it was really cool. It is a black cover, which is really tough, but this thing is in excellent shape. I picked up 2 copies of it because I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that at some point the Sentry could make an appearance. I don't know if he would appear in a Marvel MCU movie just because he is so powerful, but maybe as a standalone kind of TV show, kind of like what they did with Legion, I could see something like that happening for the Sentry, because he definitely is an intriguing character. So yeah, RB3, I see that. I don't know what my iPad is doing. It seems to like be turning off, so I'm not quite sure what the deal is with that. I don't know. I scheduled the chat to happen, and then I turned the iPad off, and then I came back 20 minutes later, and maybe there's something funky happening. So hopefully you guys can actually still see me, and I'll try to, from time to time, touch the screen back there to keep the iPad on. So just bear with me as we go through it. So I'll open up the second one here. This is definitely the mystery. This is the one I don't quite know what's in it. Clearly something that I ordered. This person sent me a freebie. There's a hair that is stuck under the tape, so that's a freebie. Black hair person. So thank you for the dark hair there. All right. This is, what is this? Oh, all right. This one's cool. This is a book. So I'm planning on doing a video. After reading, I think it was Marvel X-Men Extinction. I think that was the title of the book. After reading that book, I realized that I wanted to do a video kind of leading into, I think it's the November relaunch of the X-Men. I want to do a video talking about the X-Men in different time points, right? Different inflection points. And one of the inflection points that I wanted to hit was the Bendis inflection point. And I realized that I actually did not have the #1 for Bendis's run. So I actually went out and picked it up. And this is the all new X-Men #1. You guys will hear a lot more about this in a future video that I do. But this is a really cool book that I'm looking forward to reading, because I have not read the #1. I've read some of the other books, but not the #1. And whoever bought this book paid a nice chunk of money for this book. Certainly not near what I paid for it. But I don't know. It's a pretty slick book. So I want to say that this is the time period at which Bendis brought the original X-Men back from time into current days, and it's essentially the original X-Men return before Beast grew fur, and before Worthington had, became Archangel, and all those other things happened to him. So this is a pretty interesting run because they're like resetting things. And if you've read Extinction #1, you kind of know where this is going and where it ties back to. So stay tuned to another video that I'll be doing, which I think will be pretty cool. So yeah, the Void is his nemesis, exactly. So I don't know the whole story, but I think when like the Sentry is asleep or out, I can't remember, then the Void takes over. It's an interesting character. First appearance of Gold Balls, very good. You guys are hilarious. So yeah, so you'll hear more about this book in a future video that I do. So those were essentially the two books that I picked up recently. The Sentry #1, first appearance, I do believe, of the Sentry, and then of course all new X-Men. So I have 16 books en route from CGC. There is one really cool book that will arrive, I think, tomorrow. So we'll go live and we'll unbox that. And then I think the other 15 books arrive on Thursday, and there are some really cool books in there as well. So definitely looking forward to getting those books back. I fast tracked all that stuff, so it came back in pretty good time. So I'm not sure whether you guys pay attention to some of the news that's out there, because there's a lot of news and a lot of speculation about comic books and movies and blah, 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 blah. And one of the things that I came across the other day is that Valiant has signed its deal to bring some of its characters to TV. And I think, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, isn't the first character, isn't it Bloodshot? Is it Bloodshot or Ra? Is it Ra or Ray? Isn't that the first character? Isn't that the one that Vin Diesel is playing? Bloodshot, yeah. So the way, and I think they just started filming Bloodshot a couple of days ago based upon some of the things that I'm reading. But supposedly that deal that they've put in place, it could be with Sony, I really can't remember, was that they were going to commit, or the movie house has committed to 5 movies from Valiant. And the 5 movies, I think, are going to be 5 different titles that will essentially start to lay the foundation for the Valiant universe. Without having another more creative name, they came up with Valiant universe. And so they have 5 movies, and there's a little bit of speculation as to what those 5 movies will be. Ninjak, I think Ninjak is one of the movies that they are speculating, JD, that they may actually turn into a movie. I guess because Ninjak is supposed to be pretty popular. So there's just a lot of speculation around that. So my Bloodshot, my Ra Zero, Ra Zero is actually one of the 15 books that's coming back from CGC on Thursday. So looking forward to getting that back. But I wanted to show a couple of the books from Valiant that could be made into movies as part of this deal that they put together. So in lieu of having Bloodshot Zero, which is a gorgeous white cover, I pulled this really cool chromium cover of Bloodshot #1. And it's my understanding from one of you guys that this is actually the very first chromium cover that's ever been done. At least that's the rumor on the street. Who knows whether that's true, but it's definitely a very cool book. I actually picked this book up, I think for like $1 or something like that. There was a guy that was selling a bunch of books. I already had one that I picked up back in the day, but he had another for like $1. So yeah, JD is confirming that that is indeed the first. Whitewell Comics is asking whether my Ra Zero is the shiny or the matte version. Brother, I honestly don't remember. I will tell you on Thursday what it is. So we'll see, because I honestly can't remember off the top of my head. And I think I only have one copy of it. So another book that I picked up from that same guy with the Bloodshot #1 was this wonderful wraparound chromium cover, Shadow Man #0. There is speculation that potentially Shadow Man, because he is a popular character, at least in the Valiant universe, could potentially be turned into a movie as well. So this is another really cool one. I think this cover is really cool. I remember this thing coming out back in the day and didn't pick it up then. But I'm definitely happy to have it in my collection now. Definitely a cool book. These chromium covers, man, they hold up really, really well. This thing looks as if it were just printed and distributed just yesterday. So the other book, speaking of these chromium covers, I guess Valiant had picked up a bunch of this material back in the day. And another book that is speculated on is Exo Man of War. This is number 0. And I think one of these, I can't remember, has an error variant. Something about the color of the Valiant box is either, I can't remember the story, it's either off-white or ivory, and that's the more rare version. And I think it has to do with Exo Man of War versus some of the others. So this is another really cool, and they basically compare Exo Man of War to Tony Stark Iron Man. They basically say it's, you know, another galaxy, another universe's version of Iron Man, if you will, except that I guess this guy is I've never read the book, to be honest with you. I guess the guy's a king, and his suit is some kind of organic something or another. So definitely a couple of interesting characters. And then the last one that I have that I picked up from someone else was a different number 1. I guess they relaunched Exo Man of War. And so I picked this one up as part of a collection from a guy several months ago. And what I think they were saying is that in some cases, they may derive content for the movie, not from the original, but from the relaunched series, which I think relaunched in like 2012 or something like that. So again, maybe we'll see how it all plays out. But again, just a couple of cool books that I happen to have in my collection that I read an article about and was like, why not, you know, include them in a little video. So let me get caught up here on things. Shadow Man, you think Shadow Man will make a good show? Well, the thing is it going to be a movie or a show? I don't know. I don't know that I've read much Shadow Man, to be honest with you, so I'm going to have to take your word for it. They didn't talk about Harbinger, not that I remember, or like Hard Corpse. They certainly didn't talk about like Turok or Magnus, I don't think, because Valiant actually doesn't own those characters. I think they actually just have the rights to those characters. Same with like Solar. First Shadow Man, I'm honestly not sure. There's a question here about Solar 10 being the first Shadow Man. So maybe someone that is more familiar with Valiant can actually speak to that. Yeah, PD Hobby is making the point that he hopes that the Valiant universe doesn't end up like the Dark universe. Can you talk a little bit more? I'm guessing it's Dark Horse, maybe. Can you clarify what you mean by that, PD? Also, Magnus 5 is the first Ra. Again, Whitewell, you know better than I do, brother. So, Tony Sanders, what is the variant? It's with Exo, and is it the variant the ivory color or the white color? Which one is actually the variant? Because I have a couple of copies of that, to be honest with you, and both of mine are basically the same. So I have no clue what the variant is, to be honest with you. Okay, so G is basically saying he read an article that Harbinger might be one of the tie-in movies. Is that one of the initial 5 or one of the add-on movies? Because I think the article I saw was basically saying that there were 5 that they were contracted to do. 1 was Ra. They speculated what some of the others would be, and I think there was like 1 unknown. So there were like 3 that were somewhat known and then 1 that was unknown. He's from the past, abducted by aliens, leads a rebellion, steals the Exo suit, and then returns to Earth in the future. There we go. So that's a great synopsis, Tony, of who Exo Man of War happens. I missed bringing it back by 1 second, so sorry about that. So Tony Sanders is saying that the off-color Exo Man of War is actually the variant. I don't know. Mine looks to be... I don't know. Mine looks to be white, to be honest with you. It looks like the inside of the thing here might be a little off-white, but the overall box itself appears to be white. So I don't know. It is what it is. I'll take it, whatever it is. I believe it was one of the 5, but I could be mistaken. G, I don't know, brother, because, you know, and what I was looking at, there were so many different articles that made so many different points. And then at one point I realized I was reading an article from like 2017, and then there was another from 2018, and there were some contradictory points between the two. So my guess is that somewhere in the middle is a little bit of truth there. Made a mummy movie by Tom Cruise, set up the universe, but the movie sucks, so they basically scrapped. Got it. Okay, PD, thank you for the download. Gorilla, this is iced coffee, man. Just a little bit of coffee with some cream in it. I only drink two things, coffee and water is pretty much it. Okay, good stuff. So one of the other rumors that I heard on the street, and I was going to make a video about this too, but who cares? We might as well do it here, was that there is an animated movie that may be coming out. It's a action adventure animation called Marvel Rising Secret Warriors. Have you guys heard about this thing? Marvel Rising Secret Warriors is like the name of this thing. So there's some really nice hardcovers if you're interested in reading them. I've never read a hardcover. I won a contest and got some for free, but I've never actually read one myself. So has anybody heard about this Marvel Rising? So supposedly they are creating this series as a way of gaining access to younger audiences, to kind of segue them into maybe some of the movies a little bit later. And so the animated series that they're doing, TV show, is basically designed to target younger viewers, but also a more diverse viewership. And so they have a ton of characters in this thing that they're supposed to be introducing as part of this thing. So Miss Marvel, who is Khan, Squirrel Girl, Quake from S.H.I.E.L.D., and it's actually the person that is playing Quake on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is also going to do the voice for the animated series. They're introducing the Patriot, America Chavez, Inferno or Dante. They're introducing Ghost Spider, which is basically Spider-Gwen. And then they have a couple, Exile and Captain Marvel are just some of the characters that they're planning to introduce. Now, they originally started the planning for this thing back in, I think, 2017. And it was shelved, and now it looks like they're planning to go live at some point in 2018. So they still have a few months to kind of squeeze this thing in there. But I guess the idea is that they're creating this animated series for like featuring the next generation of characters, right? For the next generation. So much younger characters, much lesser known characters than some of the ones that we have all grown to know and love. So it could be interesting. Who knows what's going to happen with any of the first appearances of these various characters. Only time will tell. But I just thought it was interesting that they're trying this approach, which kind of ties back to something that Chris at We Love Comics was kind of talking about earlier today. And his whole video, which may have been a day old by the time I saw it this morning, was about he isn't against diversity, which I completely understand. His point was that diversity is important, but don't change the characters that many people have grown to love and to know simply for the sake of diversity. Why not introduce new characters who happen to be diverse? So I thought that was a really interesting point. I guess there's this thing called Comicsgate. I don't know all the controversy behind it, but it was an interesting topic that Chris raised in his video just recently that I didn't know anything about. So hats off to you, Chris, for helping all of us get up to speed on some interesting topics. But I just thought it was interesting that he talked about that at the same time that I'm, reading these different articles on Marvel Rising and this next generation of superheroes for the next generation of people, and it being more about diversity and inclusion with lots of women, minorities, etc., etc. So I thought that was pretty cool. So only time will tell what happens with any of this. Bad Dad 320, how you doing? Welcome to the chat. Is Vision in it at all? No, not that I heard of. So the rundown for this new show of animated series is supposed to be, looking at my notes here, Miss Marvel, Squirrel Girl, Quake, Patriot, America Chavez, Inferno. They're calling her Spider Ghost, but it's really Spider-Gwen, Exile, and then Captain Marvel. And then I think Hala. Hala is, I guess, the villain in this thing, and Hala is actually played by I can't remember her name in the show, the Asian woman that's actually on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She is going to play Hala, the villain in this show. But it's a long list of characters, if you will, and I think probably, from my opinion, probably Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, and Quake, of course, because of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are probably some of the best known, and of course Spider-Gwen, some of the best known characters in this thing. But it should be interesting what they're doing. Yes, Agent May. There you go. I think she plays a great character on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I really enjoy that. I think I'm on like season 5 right now. I just started that. They're out in the space. So I'm definitely enjoying that series. I'm gonna go back and watch it in a couple of minutes as soon as I finish this chat. But yeah, Agent May Minghua is going to play Hala in this new show. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's cool that they're coming out with these animated series. You know, my guess is that in 20 years or so, people will, you know, be sitting around on similar chats having conversations like we do now about the X-Men animated series from back in the day. You know, that is, of course, if it's successful and if it captures the attention of the younger generation. So again, we'll do a quick recap and then we will wrap this thing up. A couple of books that I picked up as speculation, but also because I wanted them and also because I need them for some videos that I'm doing. The first one is this Marvel Knights #1 featuring the Sentry. I do believe that this is the first appearance of the Sentry. Picked this up after reading all about him back in, I think, 2008-ish with the New Avengers, which I thought was a really good series by Bendis. Speaking of Bendis, I picked up All New X-Men #1. Going to be including this in a video that I'm doing leading up to the relaunch of the X-Men. And then we did a little bit of speculation along with Valiant, because Valiant now has a movie deal in place and they are starting production on Bloodshot #1, or starting production on Bloodshot. So I pulled out a couple of books from my personal collection to kind of highlight. That includes X-O Man of War, wonderful chromium cover. The 2002, I do believe, relaunch of X-O Man of War. Bloodshot #1, because my Raw Zero is actually coming back from CGC, and it's my understanding again that this is the first chromium cover that was ever made. And then we followed it up with the Shadow Man Zero. So just a couple of cool books that I have from my personal collection that I thought I would highlight for you guys. All right, so Thanatos, how you doing, brother? Welcome. So RB3, I am always a man of my word. So we're going to end this chat with a little bit of harmonica play. Now you might be asking yourself, why does he have a green harmonica? I have a green harmonica because my son walked in on me doing a live stream a couple of weeks ago, and he wanted me to play the harmonica, and I told him no. And then people put pressure on me to play the harmonica. Then I made a deal with Miss Hustle that I would play this harmonica live on stream if she recorded a video showing her face talking about comic books. She is a woman of her word, and I am a man of my word. The only thing that would make this better is if I had on my Green Lantern mask to match my green harmonica. So you guys are silly. Is that how you play it? That's awful. A man of my word. Never doubt me again. All right, so now I'm sweaty and I am embarrassed. I want to thank you guys for taking time to watch this. If you haven't checked out my new video, I just put up a video today. Check it out if you get a chance. And then we are going to be going live Wednesday and Thursday because we have things coming back from CGC. And for a friend of mine, I am actually working on a video probably next, where I'm actually going to be showing, and I'll probably release it later this week or next week. I'm actually going to be showing how I'm actually protecting some of my comic books that I don't send off to CGC but still want to have protected. And so I'm going to be doing a video on, you know, my lights and in the backing boards and all that kind of stuff, and how I choose to store my books that I don't send off. So I want to thank you guys for joining me. I absolutely enjoyed you. Go check out Miss Hustle's video, because I had to play this stupid harmonica, so go watch that video. Take care.